Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Eliel in this incarnation. I am here today to talk about the total lunar eclipse in Pisces that we are going to have on September 7th. In some other places, it's going to be on September 8th. It is given in the degree 15 with 22 minutes of Pisces. So people that have mutable signs rising, whether this is Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, or Gemini, they are going to feel probably in a stronger way, but we are all going to feel it in the houses in which we have Pisces and Virgo. And people that have these lunar nodes, North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, or vice versa, or inverse. This energy is very, very strong right now. I told you the last week that eclipses, we feel them with a lot of anticipation. It is total because it is very, very close of the node. In fact, it is given in the degree 15 and the lunar nodes are in the degree 18, very, very close. It is not going to be visible here in Argentina, at least in my country, in America. There is a small part, but mainly this is in Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. There is where it is going to impact more. And this eclipse closes a cycle. It is an event that brings final endings that could be developed in the next 6 months. And all of them are redirectionings of our purpose of the soul. We are dealing with situations in which we could not have control. We are talking about of an eclipse of North Node. Therefore, the experiences that could be already be presenting are calling us to this point of integration of the Piscean energy in a form that we didn't do before, that we didn't have before. And because it is in Pisces, the point where the moon is going to get darker, get dark, we have to take into account that the south node in Virgo with the sun in there, it is going to turn very visible and patterns could emerge, regressive ones. So we can be aware of them and how they are stopping us to move forward. This is emphasized because of the fact that the regent of the south node, Mercury, is going to be in Virgo by that moment in conjunction with the sun and with this point. And this tells us that our mind could be the tool that we can use to, look for resolutions and taking practical decisions, or could be the labyrinth of analysis that is paralyzing us. Now we are going to talk in the individual level, and at the end of the video, I'm going to mention, certain perspectives on the collective level. On Sunday, I'm going to add information of the transits that are going to take us to the eclipse, because there are very, very important movements this week. Let's remember what is the Piscean energy about. Its regent is Neptune and the old regent is Jupiter. In a minute, we're going to talk about them. Pisces symbolizes the unity, consciously or unconsciously. It is the unity that we are all immersed. It is the infinite essence that is present in the whole universe. An energy of contact with the subtle planes, astral plane, a sensitive perception. It is when we are able to detect the emotions of someone else without that person even has to communicate it. We are just feeling them. You could expect that your emotions could be, very, very mutable. It is a water mutable sign. You could be very sensitive, a lot of crying or other emotions. But it is important to understand that many of you could be feeling collective emotions. Therefore, don't try to look up for an explanation all the time. I mean, if there is a situation that is activating them, of course, you can deepen in that. But many of you will be channeling these external emotions. Therefore, it is important to take care of your field, of the energy that you are receiving through information or through the environment, to put boundaries to that. Okay, it is a sign of amplified intuition. There is a capacity of feeling everything. In fact, it is the final instance in the zodiacal wheel in which, the soul can dissolve in the source, in the infinite source of light. Pisces represents the rendition, the surrendering, rendition, I think it is a word that exists in English, the sacrifice, the sacred office of surrendering to the currents of life, because we feel inwards that we have to go in those directions, even if we cannot always have control of, or total planification from our rational mind. It is a sign very associated with ways of connection, of inner connection, a spiritual one, with compassion, with empathy, forgiveness towards oneself or others. And it is this event. It is given in a conjunction with the fixed star Ashernar, which is also called the end of the river. This star, it is in the degree 15 with 19 minutes of Pisces. It is almost exact, the conjunction, and it is associated with with blessings, with expansion that comes from this spiritual path. In ancient times, it was more associated with the church, with the expansion linked with a role in there. But now we know that I am not talking about beliefs, but I'm talking about the institution. It is a corrupt one. It is corrupted. And we also know nowadays that the inner growth, it is not depending on an institution, temple, person, or object. But there were along the history a lot of beings, human beings, that brought wisdom in here to this world, so we can remember our essence. So it is very curious, the name, end of the river, because it is a river that flows into the sea. The sea, which is the symbology of Pisces, because of the infinity of the sea, and the ocean of energy in which all the souls we are vibrating, and all the existent, and each one of us has to find its own its own course towards that ocean. Let's go down here, because the energy of Pisces has these qualities, and many times it is hard for us to make contact in an elevated way, because of many of our social conditionings, and the level of consciousness that we collectively have attained. Pisces has a lot of expressions according to that level of light that we have integrated, and this event is inviting us to incorporate this in its more conscious ways. But of course, the shadows could be manifested, so we can be aware of them. So confusion, chaos, the adaptability in the chaos, the situations that we know but we are not saying, the lack of clarity, delirium, illusion, depression, apathy, the lack of sense that is born from the disconnection from the soul, victimization, deceit or self-deceit, evasion, escapisms. Frequently, these are associated with substances, with drugs or alcohol, but truly the mechanisms of evasion are are several. Many people could be escaping from themselves through relationships. There are people that even can try to not get in touch with what is happening inside through their jobs and their daily tasks, which seems something very responsible, but it's not, with the South Node in Virgo. Other people could be, execute these mechanisms through watching series all day, or even acquiring information that is spiritual or religious, or meditating, because depending of the intention with which these things are done, that are more associated to the spiritual plane, and how much coherence we are sustaining in the material reality, this could help or not to expand a path of elevation. So spiritual, the spiritual is everything that exists, and everything comes from this sacred spark from the spirit. But there are certain, spiritual practices that could be a form of evasion of reality, and even a mental structure of security that it comes a moment that are not evolutionary anymore. I gave these examples many times, but it is like praying without then later taking action to generate changes. It is to wait for someone, Jesus or whatever thing, an external entity can save us, when we are the ones that we have to get in touch with God in ourselves, and to do this transformation, to reveal our path, believing that because we are believing in something, or because we read the Bible, and I mentioned the Bible many times in this channel because it has a lot of symbology. I don't have a religious belief, but it is about believing that if we have certain ideologies or whatever thing, we have won the paradise. And later, if we are not taking decisions that are not reflecting that seeking of wanting to grow in love, wanting to grow as a person, we could read whatever thing, we could believe in whatever thing, but if we spend our time criticizing or judging other people, that is an incoherence. So hell and paradise are states of the consciousness, are not physical places. And in fact, it is part of transiting through passages of darkness so we can remember our light. Descending this more to earth, yet we could be seeing ourselves facing processes that are going to make a cut with something that was very familiar, and a space that in which we have created an area of security, but it's not working anymore, or it already accomplished its cycle. And in order to move forward, we require to decide or to surrender to distrust of in those things that we are feeling, that we are intuitively feeling, because those decisions could be involving the dissolution of structures of thought that are limitant, old beliefs, preconcepts. I don't know if this word it is the one. Well, judgments that are creating separation from others, exigencies, perfectionism, excess of focus in whatever thing is wrong, over analyzing, not taking action could be patterns that are emerging. So we can make a cleansing, criticism towards oneself or others. Resisting, seeing everything as wrong, all the things that are not adjusting to our mental plane or to our expectations. Some people could be discovering that there are forms of service or helping to other people that are not being exercised from a true connection with themselves, and that are being born from programmings acquired in which unconsciously they could be seeking for external validation, and that is causing energetic drains and physical symptoms. The body could be manifesting in many ways when we talk about the energy of Virgo. Also mental health topics, because anxiety or whatever thing, they are signals of something that we need to listen inside and to make changes to, probably on the outside. In the environments or in the things that we are doing, well, they are offering, an opportunity to discover something that we have to reveal. And also there will be habits that we are going to have to change, whether it is in our food, in the contact with our body, in how we are investing our energy in the daily life. Perhaps it's a totally different way of inhabiting our experience or doing, our jobs. So, well, there is two important things in here, because on one side, Neptune retrograde in Aries, which is the regent, it is in a conjunction with Saturn retrograde, that this week it is turning back to Pisces. It is coming back to Pisces. It is going to be in the degree 29. It is a very karmic degree. Therefore, this movement, this is something that we are already feeling, even if Saturn it is still in Aries. And this speaks to us and tells us that, in order to open the doors for the new world, the new life, because that is more represented by Neptune in Aries. And let's remember that they are going to make a conjunction on 2026 in Aries, to move forward to these desires or to these potentials of the soul. It is a moment to close with the old, to put boundaries to the fantasies and the illusions, to the experiences that the soul don't want to transit anymore, to want to be saved by someone or something, or to exercise roles of saviors that are not corresponding to us, which is not the same than giving and receiving help. And also taking responsibility for what we can do in the present moment without resignation, but with this profound acceptance of the processes. And the wonderful part, it is that if we are, able to align with this disposition, these efforts that we can do, because I'm not going to enter in the next eclipse, but Saturn is going to be very, very present. And many times the energy of Saturn is heavy. It brings its challenges and obstacles and sensations of restriction. So the efforts that we can do to transcend those fears, or the feeling that we are incapable of transcending certain challenges and taking decisions, even if we are feeling that way, the changes that we can generate, and that we know that require patience and focus in the long term, and that we have sustained in the last time, all of that has its consequences, its fruits, even the things that we do in disconnection from our soul, and also the things that we are doing with awareness. So the thing is that Jupiter in Cancer, which is the other ruler, it is in trine with the moon and the north node in Pisces, and in a sextile with the south node in Virgo, the Sun and Mercury. So there is a great possibility of expansion, very nourishing in here. For some of you, could be, a change of home, a change of place, could be connections that are feeling as a home, could be projects that truly feed our heart. Could be also to observe situations of the past, the possibility of observing those situations, and that they can take a new sense that are impulsing us to an inner unity, which is Pisces, and to truly focus ourselves in things that are helping us to expand and to create the perception of abundance. At the same time, Jupiter is in a square with Mars in Libra. Therefore, there could be, a contact with what we are understanding, that it is a decision that truly has sense. But at the same time, this difficulty to move forward into that, because for some people could be disagreements with other person, which is an expression of Mars in Libra. For others, could be a lot of indecision, which is a form of resistance of the mind when we are in touch with something that we know we have to do, but it leads us to the unknown. So as the last comments of today, in the collective level, this eclipse could move situations that are pushing us to this collective union, to help to each other. No matter, this goes beyond if we perceive those situations as something positive or negative. It could even manifest events related with waters, the sea, situations related to religions or fanatist ideologies that are showing us the need of letting go of the judgments and the identifications that are creating separation. Could be, a great movement of masses, because that is also Pisces and Neptune. And things related to the healthcare system that is also corrupt. And that those situations could lead us to understand that healing not only radicates in treating the body, but we have to approach the body in a whole, in connection with our emotions, mind, and soul, and to look up for ways of cure that are only coming from getting rid of the symptoms without revealing why they are originating and what they are communicating. That has turned in an obsolete thing. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video.